Hey there, beer tubers. Welcome to the first ever beer review here on the Beer Patrol. I'm Average Joe, and for my first ever beer review, I've decided to review a beer from the Anchor Brewing Company out of San Francisco, California, and this is their Anchor Porter. So this is a classic beer from a classic brewery, one of the OG breweries in the United States, and the great thing about this beer is I haven't had it in about 5 years, early 2013, so about 5 years. But this was the first craft beer that I ever enjoyed. It was the first craft beer that I drank and I said, oh my God, like beer can taste like that? And it opened my eyes to what craft beer could be. And here we are 9 years later, like I said, having this for the first time in 2009. 9 years later, and I've tried thousands of different beers, but this is the one that started it all for me. So I thought it would be nice to do a proper review for this beer. And I want to give a quick shout out to my buddy Todd. He actually sent me this beer because I couldn't find this within 60 miles of my house. I actually went on the Anchor Brewing Company website, anchorbrewing.com, did the beer finder, said it wasn't available anywhere within 60 miles of your location. Actually checked a bunch of local craft beer shops that I go to, bottle shops. No sign of it. So it's crazy that this beer is not available anywhere locally to me. So I really appreciate it, Todd, that you sent me this beer. You actually sent me 3 bottles of this, so I have a couple to enjoy, non-review, maybe on some live hangouts or something. And yeah, I'm ready to crack into this one. The background on this one. Actually, let me read the here on the neck. They have a little bit of a spiel. I won't do this for most reviews, but since this is my first ever review and this is like a classic beer for me and everything, I will. It says, San Francisco's famous Anchor Porter brand is made in one of the smallest and most traditional breweries in the world by the brewers of Anchor Steam Beer. Our old-fashioned porter is virtually handmade with an exceptional respect for the ancient art of brewing. We use 100% malted barley, generous amounts of fresh whole hops, entirely natural carbonation, and a simple natural brewing process that is like no other in the world. The deep black color, the thick creamy head, and the intensely rich flavor of Anchor Porter, made in San Francisco since 1972, have earned this delicious and unique brew a worldwide reputation for outstanding quality. It is aesthetically pleasing and wholly superior in every respect. Not quite a stone brewing company like spiel, but a lot of the stuff they say is very true. And this beer comes in at 5.6% alcohol by volume. Couldn't find the IBUs, not on their website, not on Untapped, nowhere. This is actually brewed with specially roasted 2-row pale, caramel, chocolate, and black malts. Northern Brewer is the hops using it. Like it said on the neck here, brewed in 1972 for the first time ever. And it was bottled in 1974 for the first time ever as well. It is a year-round offering, and you can't find it in Western New York. Well, maybe you can, but who knows. A little bit of water in the glass here. Let's give it a proper pour, I guess. Oh, so this is pouring out. You know what? This is actually pouring out. When you hear people say brown porters, right? Almost like a brown ale-ish type of porter. That's what this beer is kind of pouring out like. I don't know if you can see that on camera, but it is definitely a lot lighter than you would expect. It actually poured out like a deeper brown color. It has some mahogany tinges to it as well. Yeah, it is not black. It is not opaque. You can see through a little bit of it. But yeah, like a dark. And it, you know what? The funny thing about this is it looks quite unfiltered too. There's a little murkiness in there. But yeah, it pours out like I said, more of a brown porter than anything. Very creamy, luscious head to this one. It almost looks nitroed. There's going to be some awesome glass lacing, as you can see on there. Yeah, the glass, not that the glass lacing doesn't mean anything, right? But at the same time, it just looked proper. Let's get an aroma on it. Ooh, it's actually quite nice. Okay, so first off, I'm getting this slightly tart black cherry. The nose is actually kind of reminding me of a cherry cola. There's a little bit of chocolate, a little bit of coffee, a little bit of toffee, roasted malts, maybe a touch of molasses in there. There's a lot of different things going on, but very nuanced and subtle. But yeah, that black cherry's there. I wouldn't say it's the predominant note, but it's very noticeable. Obviously, no hops to speak of. As I said, Northern Brewer is what they're brewing this with. Single hop with Northern Brewer. Oh my God, single hop American Porter. That's what they said on the site anyway, but it doesn't smell overly sweet, so those hops are just cutting down on sweetness and balancing it out. Yeah, not much more, honestly. More than anything, I'm getting this cherry cola vibe. Not like a cherry Coke or a wild cherry Pepsi or any kind of name brand. Just a generic, like, store brand cherry cola. Doesn't mean it smells bad in quality, but it's just, the nose is very generic within regards to the cherry cola note. But there is enough of that chocolate and toffee and roasted malt and stuff to kind of back it up. It doesn't smell overwhelmingly amazing or anything, but it smells very well balanced and pretty tasty. So let's get into it. Cheers, everyone, and thanks again, Todd. Truly do appreciate it. Yeah, that's nice. This is probably, I'd say, about 55 degrees or so. Been out of my fridge for quite a while. It's cool but not cold. It's not quite boiling temperature like Paul from PA Brew News loves his beers. Shout out, Paul. We know you like all your beers like 5,000 degrees and rip your tongue to shreds. But it's nice because the flavors have opened up, and yeah, it's pretty tasty. First thing I notice is, we're going to harken back to the shout out to Paul. It is a bit thin. It is 5.6% alcohol by volume, so you don't expect this big, crazy, luscious body. But it's like lower side of medium bodied. I prefer to see this medium bodied. However, the creaminess from the mouthfeel more than makes up for that lack of body. It's not quite like a nitro beer or anything. Shout out to Chris from In the Basement. Oh, sorry, I mean on the 10th in your crappy elevator. But it makes up for that lack of body, and it just makes for an enjoyable drinking experience. Just it's creamy. It goes down quite easily. Super easy to drink. Flavor wise, here's where it kind of gets me and makes me happy. It's not trying to be something that it's not. This is a beer that is 5.6%. It's a beer meant to session and drink a lot of. It's an older beer that, it's not going to have all these crazy, natural and artificial flavors and taste like pastry, stouts, and porters and crazy. I love all that stuff too. But this is an 40 plus year old beer that drinks extremely well. You have a bit of chocolate, more of like a baker's chocolate or like a powdered cocoa. You have a little bit of coffee and roasted malt. I'm not really detecting the difference. It just has a nice roastiness to it. I'd say more roasted malt than coffee. There's a nice toffee and molasses sweetness in there. That cherry cola vibe that I was getting in the nose doesn't translate exactly into the taste, but you do get a slight hint of it. Overall, it just makes for a very well balanced beer. I could crush a bunch of these. I could drink a shit ton of these, and that's what it's made for. No one flavor is too big. There's nothing that would tire out my palate after drinking multiples of these, and just the drinking experience itself is impressive. Yeah, I mean, it's so easy to drink. I mean, put it this way: if I was not reviewing this right now, this would probably be half gone, and it would take me about 10 to 15 minutes to drink a bottle of this. It's meant to be, dare I say, quaffable. It's meant to be super drinkable, crushable, whatever you want to use. And that's what you get in this beer. It's not, like I said, nothing to fatigue your palate. And yeah, I mean, there's not a whole lot more to say about it. Is it overly complex? No. But the fact that it's simple and easygoing, and there's enough flavors in there to kind of perk up your palate each time you take a swig of it, that's what I enjoy about it. That's what I think most people enjoy about this. It's a shame I can't get this in my area anymore, so I really do appreciate Todd hooking me up with 3 bottles of this, because he actually bought a 6-pack, and he split the 6-pack, kept 3 for himself and 3 for me. By the way, Todd is not a fellow beer tuber, but he is a panel member on a weekly live show that is hosted by a good friend of mine and a fellow beer tuber, that being Rajay over at Rajay Beer Ventures. He does the weekly Beer Flow show every Thursday night at 8:45 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Quick plug for his channel, quick plug for his show. I'm a panel member, Todd's a panel member, obviously Rod hosts the show, and we have another beer tuber, Eric Alliance fan. He's a part of it every week. It's a lot of fun. Anyway, check it out if you have time to waste on Thursday. It's pretty good. We we read all comments and we interact with the viewers, and it's a lot of fun. But anyway, back to the beer. Yeah, rating. I do the Untapped rating system, basically 0 to 5, and I have no problem. I think back in the day I gave this like a 3.75 or a 4. I'm going to give it a 4 out of 5. If you've never had this beer, get one. Find one somewhere. If it's like my area where you can't find it, I get it. But get a beer. Try it. See what you think. Buy a 6-pack of it. I would say this is a great 6-pack beer, but give yourself a shot at this one because, this is beer, this recipe's, 45 years old, and it holds up. American porters are one of my favorite styles when it comes to like non-crazy like barrel-aged beers or sours or adjunct or whatever. There's, they use water, malted barley, hops, yeast, and this is what they get out of it. And this is one of my favorite American porters, along with Great Lakes Brewing Company's, their Edmund Fitzgerald, Deschutes' Black Butte, Smutty Nose Robust Porter. This is in the conversation for me. And like I said, I'm very disappointed this isn't available locally because I would, and this is just not lip service, I would probably buy a 6-pack if I can find it around here just to have in the fridge for YouTube hangouts or just drinking and not thinking about it, not reviewing. So I'm thankful that Todd did send me a couple extra, but at the same time, there's so many beers to try, so I'm disappointed, but I'll be all right. Anyway, thanks once again to Todd for the beer, and thanks for everyone who stops by and checks out this review. I truly appreciate it. I'm glad I finally have a beer tubing channel. I'm glad I reviewed this beer. A 4 out of 5 is a proper rating. I'm glad this was my first ever review because, like I said, I want to pay homage to this beer. It is the beer that got me started in craft beer. This beer has made me a lot of friends. It's given me a hobby that I thoroughly enjoy, and I'm glad I could properly review it finally on the channel. So, appreciate you guys stopping by for the first ever beer review here on the Beer Patrol. If you want to like, comment, subscribe, see, I have that up, but if you want to like, comment, and subscribe, like so many people say, that's cool. I'm on board with all of that. But if you do one of those 3 things, throw a comment in the comment section. Have you ever had Anchor porter before? Have you ever had anything from Anchor? What's your favorite American style porter? The back and forth, or as a fellow beer tuber and a good friend of mine who I haven't talked to in a while, but DJ over at DJ's Brew Tube likes to say he enjoys the quid pro quo, which is the back and forth. And that's what I enjoy. So leave a comment in the comment section. I'll get back to it. I'll read all the comments. I'll respond. Even the trolly ones, which I'm sure I'll get quite a few of, so I'm on board with that. But yeah, leave me a comment. But if you want to like and subscribe, I'm on board with that, baby. Too Dusty Rose, understand the like and the comments and the subscribes and all that. I don't know why I just turned to Dusty Rose, but wouldn't be a beer review here on the Beer Patrol if Dusty Rhodes didn't rear his awesome head, not his ugly head. R.I.P. Dusty. Anyway, I'm rambling now. Apologize for the length. Most of my reviews won't be this long, but it is the first ever one, and I'm super excited, as you can tell. So until the next one, cheers.